realize that rest isn't just about lying down. It's about having the mental space to breathe. For many people, that's incredibly hard to find. Some are working multiple jobs, some are caring for children, caring for their aging parents, and don't have the time to rest. Some other people are so overwhelmed that even when they have the time to rest, they can't switch their minds off because their minds are already overstimulated. Hi, my name is Belinda and I'm a registered nurse, a mom of two, and this channel is all about sharing healthy practical tips for all of us. All right, let's get to it. I used to think that luxury meant expensive vacations, fancy cars, designer clothes, bigger homes. But the older I get, the more I realize that the greatest luxury is something much, much simpler. The ability to sit down in your own home and truly rest. No rushing, no worrying, no guilt, just peace. Now, if I may ask a question, when was the last time you sat down and truly rested without feeling guilty? Let that sink in for a little bit. Now, when I was much younger, I didn't know the importance or the value of rest. I would work all crazy hours. Nurses, if there's something that everyone knows about nurses, we love to pick up multiple shifts, extra money. And even during the holidays, I would go to the supervisor and say, hey, I'm available to work. Because the way I reasoned it at the time was I didn't have a family. I didn't have, anybody who was relying on me or who needed me to be there. So why rest? Just work. I just pick up those extra shifts and I would work and work and work and not realize that my body needed the rest until I was forced to take a rest. I was forced to. Something happened at my clinic where I worked, and for reasons that I don't want to go into, majority of the nurses were asked to, stay home for about 2 weeks or so because management was having some problems and the clinic was being closed down for that time. And here I was with 2 whole weeks with nothing to do. Can you guys guess what happened to me? I fell sick. My brain went nuts. My brain couldn't understand. What are you doing at home? You should be at work. I'm constantly in fight or flight. What do you mean rest? I was sick for the entire 2 weeks. And the moment I was called back to work, I felt better again. That is not how it should be. That is not right. We shouldn't work so hard or work so much or stress ourselves so much that when we eventually get a chance to rest, our body starts to think that there's something crazy going on, that we're sick, and begins to display those signs and symptoms of sickness because it doesn't know what else to expect. I've cared for patients whose biggest wish wasn't more money. They wanted another healthy day, another chance to spend time with family, another peaceful night's sleep. Being at stress all the time, it's not good for us. When we are constantly having chronic stress because we work too hard, that's not how our bodies were designed to function. Chronic stress, because we cannot rest, because we have no time to rest, can affect our bodies in a negative way. If you have blood pressure problems, it can increase your blood pressure because that stress, that fight or flight that your body is in can increase pressure on your arterial walls, which in turn can increase your blood pressure. When you have no time to rest, means you have no time to sleep. If you can't sleep, then your body and your brain doesn't get time to rest and recharge. And that doesn't make you a better person. When you also have no time to rest, your anxiety goes up. Something small happens, you're like, oh my God, what is it? What is it? Because your brain is constantly in fight or flight. So rest is so important. Unfortunately, it's something that is not really, really talked about in today's world. Even when you fall sick, most people fall sick these days and they have no time to rest. They have to get back to work as quickly as possible. Even when you have a child, you're giving them 6 weeks, 3 months, depending on where you work, back to work. So we're living in a society where rest is one of the luxuries which we need. But unfortunately, most of us don't have it. So do what I do. Plan ahead. Schedule time off so you can rest because it's so needed. I also think that another reason why people don't really talk much about rest is because of how we view it as a culture. You know, how society views rest. Think about it. If you tell somebody, I'm just going to rest today, they're not going to look at you with like admiration. You're going to rest. Like, no, you're going to be looked at or judged as being a lazy person because you're trying to rest. There should be a million and one things that you have to do. Rest. What is rest? So I think that our society and our culture, because we don't place more emphasis on rest, people don't really see the need to rest as often as they should. I also think that we don't have to work and work and work and work that our bodies are so exhausted before we now rest, before we now think that we've earned the right to rest. You know, that is not something that we should be doing. We should build in a healthy, good sleep habit, build in, you know, taking rest here and there during the week, during the day, because these are the habits, these are the things that's going to help us, you know, live a better life, live a healthier lifestyle. And us, we constantly tell people to reduce more stress, get more sleep, and take care of themselves. But many parents and caregivers, many people, they know these things. They don't need us to tell them. It's just that finding the time to do them has become more difficult, has become something that they have to think about, you know? So like I say, just the way you plan to go grocery shopping, plan to do laundry, also plan for rest. You know, that's what I have to say. We need it. All right, so we've come to the end of this video, and I want to end it on this note. If somebody offered you $1 million, but you were too exhausted to enjoy it, would it really feel like wealth? Maybe the greatest luxury isn't what we own. Maybe it's having enough health, enough peace, enough time to simply sit down, breathe, and rest. So, what does rest look like in your life right now? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Bye.